Okay, first of all, name?
Yeah, I'm J.D. Lambright.
J.D. County Attorney?
That's correct. I'm Montgomery County Attorney.
Now, you got stuck again with a juvenile case. Tell me a little bit what you got.
That is correct. It's obviously been making the news quite a bit. There was a robbery and a murder that occurred, I guess, just a week ago, last Monday, out on 105 East. And the two suspects in that are now in custody, a 19-year-old adult and who will be dealt with by the DA's office, and a 13-year-old juvenile that we'll be dealing with.
What can you tell me about the 13-year-old? I mean, you've got a history of him, apparently.
Right. We have been dealing with a 13-year-old in our system. My office prosecutes all the juvenile cases, and we've already been dealing with this young man on probation, and as well as the 19-year-old. The 19-year-old has a very extensive history here of violence as a juvenile.
What happens now with the 13-year-old? Tell me a little bit what next steps are. He appeared in court this morning for just basically what it was, a detention hearing?
That is correct. The 13-year-old was actually picked up last Friday, and he's being held in our juvenile detention facility here in Conroe. And so he had to be brought to court this morning in front of the juvenile judge. And the purpose of that is a detention hearing. And of course, we were asking the judge to continue to detain this young juvenile, and the judge agreed with that. So he'll be in detention, and by law, he has to be brought back to court every 2 weeks as a juvenile. He's got to be brought back every 2 weeks, and that will continue up until such time as he's adjudicated on this particular case, depending on what we may charge him with.
Now, on the charge, okay, he's 13, can't be really tried as an adult. What charges can be brought against him?
That is correct. Because of the juvenile's age, being 13 at the time this was committed, we do not have the ability to certify him to stand trial as an adult. But we still are looking. We may charge him with a murder, with felony murder, perhaps capital murder. Certainly all of those are on the table.
Now, what happens on a case like that? Say if he is charged with any one of those and found guilty, how does that work?
Well, if he was adjudicated on any of those charges, the maximum he could face would be 40 years confinement.
Okay, so what are they, juvenile till 18 and they bring him back, or juvenile 18 and automatically transfer him over?
Then he would transfer into the adult system after that, assuming it goes as we plan. I think we have a very solid case against this 13-year-old juvenile.
Okay. What about the 13-year-old? I mean, was he kind of bragged about it a little bit, or how?
Well, the 13-year-old is sometimes youthful do like this, youthful offenders, was talking about this to other people after this happened last Monday, and that's really then what subsequently brought it to the attention of law enforcement.
Okay. Now, your 19-year-old, apparently he's had some issues, quite a few issues with you before.
Yes, the 19-year-old certainly has Mr. Gutierrez. We've been dealing with him for several years in our juvenile system. In fact, here's just an example of the file we have on the 19-year-old, and kind of put it in perspective. This is very unusual to have a file this extensive on someone, but this is the file we had.
That's got to be a couple of pounds right there.
I think it's, I'd guess maybe 5 pounds, or 5 or 6 pounds probably.
What?
So he has a very notable history of crimes of violence in the past, the 19-year-old.
What, okay, so now the DA's office can handle the rest of the 19-year-old though?
That is correct, and we'll be working in close collaboration with Montgomery County Sheriff's Department as well as the District Attorney's Office. The District Attorney will be prosecuting the 19-year-old. My office will be prosecuting the juvenile, but obviously we'll have a close working relationship on that.
Now, the 19-year-old, since he was in your system before, can that be used against him as a juvenile case? Can that be brought up against him or not?
Some of these things could be brought up in terms of a subsequent punishment, perhaps. I don't know that any of that is particularly going to be necessary given the nature and the severity of this. Just a heinous crime, and certainly our thoughts and prayers go out to the Sadruddin family, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Just complete senseless crime. Why this happened.
Okay, go ahead. Name, first of all?
Brett Ligon.
L-I-G-O-N.
L-I-G-O-N.
And tell me about the Gutierrez case. What stands, what's transpired in the past couple of days?
Well, it's a murder case. It was filed through a complaint and information. The defendant's name is Joseph Gutierrez, a 19-year-old male, lives out on the East Montgomery County part. And unfortunately, Mr. Gutierrez and at least one other person were involved in the capital murder of a gentleman who was running a shell station out there in Grossville.
Any idea what brought this on or anything like that?
Well, as you know, the investigation is still ongoing. And so at this point, what was important for us was to get out to the community that the suspect has been taken into custody. And so we're continuing to investigate to make sure that the case comes together. But as far as getting to a motive, it's too early to speculate.
What about as far as previous? Have you handled him before or anything?
Like I said, it's early into the investigation, so we're looking into things that the community is providing to us, as well as the resources we have through law enforcement.
What's going to be kind of this? Have you all decided what to do on the case as far as going to find the capital case?
Well, it has been filed as a capital, and so there's two angles that you can pursue. One is the capital life provision, in which case you'd be trying the case where the death penalty wouldn't be an option. But in the state of Texas, death penalty is an option when you're dealing with capital crimes. What we do is have a round table that we're getting with the chief prosecutor, as well as the evidence and the information that we gather. And so that decision hasn't been made yet, but will be shortly.
And any idea how long before that decision is made?
Probably within the next 3 to 4 months.
How long is the time frame you looking at before this thing actually even comes to trial?
The case was filed in the 221st District Court. Judge Lisa Mychalk has a very, very efficient docket. She tries cases timely. The cases get processed like they should, so people that are in custody get their options, or they get their day in court, and the public kind of relies on it. So I expect us to be able to resolve this case within a year.